Hey everyone, welcome to the Curious Girl Diaries podcast. I'm Layla London, aka The Curious Girl. Now, just to let you know, this podcast is not suitable for work. It's also not suitable for anybody under 18. But the rest of you consenting adults, let's get ready to talk about my sex life, sex in general, and everything in between in explicit, raunchy, fun detail. All right, here we go. So, I finally have my friend Joel. I said your first name, but that's okay, right? Yeah?
They didn't do names.
Well, you don't do mine. I have to stay anonymous.
Yes, that's totally fine.
Yeah. I'll just use your first name. It's okay. Because I've referenced you so many times in my podcast, so people already, I think...
You never said Joel.
I did. I've let it slip
Once
a couple
or twice.
times. Yeah, once or twice.
Gotcha,
Okay.
Gotcha. I'm with you. I'm on the same page.
All right. So, is it okay if I use your first name?
You have my permission.
All right. Okay.
I'll sign the waiver.
There we go. All right, good. Sign the waiver. There'll be waivers waiting for you at the door. And so what people don't know is that we tried to do this remotely at one point. And
When
we
I was
did
in
this
LA.
big, long freaking podcast. And there was an echo. And when I was done and I listened to it, I'm like, oh, shit, we can't use this. There's an echo. Because we did it over Skype, and I just forgot about, there's some things about Skype that, or, there's a way to get around that, but I kind of forgot about that. Anyway, we wasted about 45 minutes, an hour, something like that. Okay. So this time, though, we're now face to face. And I have some finite, very specific questions that I want to talk to you about, because you are sort of, I tell people you're my male counterpart. If I was a man, I would be you. And so you have done a lot of online stuff, and you well ahead of me, and you have, more experience with it than I do. And when I started doing this, you had a few opinions about things, and I was like, oh no, Well, now a year into this, I'm like, oh, well, that kind of seems to be true. It sucks, but it's true. And so,
That does suck, and it is true.
do you remember when? So
Like
the other
it-
night when we were out to dinner, we were talking about how people just end up in one kind of camp or the other. As far as when you're seeing these people, they either are like short term. It has a lifespan, a shelf life. You don't know really what that's going to be, right? When you start it, You're optimistic, but it always is like, fuck, it expires. And then it's either that or they want to be, they want to lock it down and they want to be in a one-on-one. What the fuck is that all about? What is your take on that? Why is that? I'm still hopeful. I mean, I'm determined that I can find a happy medium, but I'll tell you, at this point, I'm still searching. So tell me, why do you think that is?
Rephrase the question. Why do I think what is? I know the story, and I'm with you on the thought.
Yeah.
But what's the
Why do you think that
short
people?
question?
Why do people either land in Camp A or Camp B? Camp A,
Meaning, like Camp A being fun and short, or Camp B being
yes,
monogamous long term?
yep.
Yeah.
Why is there?
And I would add a little caveat to that.
Okay.
Even if, in my experience, when people clearly say, I want to be in Camp A, meaning short
Yeah.
and fun,
Yeah.
I don't even listen. You're going to be in Camp B. No matter who you are, it
Yeah.
just always goes there.
Why does that happen?
That is it. we should have maybe just like that's a question that I truly do not know.
Yeah.
Why is it that people always, we're all predictable. We all gravitate towards this, monogamous long-term marriage system that, and not to beg on it, but that we all know that every New Yorker article is like, this will not work. Works for 1 in 10, Right now, for the first time in human history, There's more single people than married people.
Yeah.
There's more atheists than religious. Which kind of goes towards our thinking of Camp A. With all this knowledge, but still in our everyday life, I'm like, you're going to this thing that I clearly stated that I didn't want.
Yeah.
And for the audience listening, I mean, the landscape that we cast our line in is clearly not a lot be long-term monogamous, etc. We're
not on eHarmony.
Yeah. We're clearly raising the flag and saying this is, and we're very good about being transparent.
Yeah.
And putting it out there and saying,
Right.
We're sex positive.
Yeah.
We're here for fun.
Yeah.
We are not this.
Right.
But yours and my experience both were like, it's going to go there. And you and I know each other's experiences that we don't need to go into. But
we can.
Even the people
that
that clearly have no invested, that you should be setting up a city in Camp A or pulling over that doesn't make any sense.
I know.
It's that big of a draw.
Yeah.
So the question,
why?
what is that draw? What is that gravity that just pulls there?
What is it?
And the loop, you probably are going to get to this, that even if you are successful to stay in a fun, hey, this is just live for today, this is sex positive, this is transparent, all these things, it's going to be short-lived. I've been doing this a long time. I don't know not one person. But the girls that I've met that have gone right away to what people would call the friend zone, I have many, many examples of 10-year plus relationships that I'm thrilled with.
Yeah.
But it never went sexual.
Okay.
If it went sexual, it ended.
Okay.
No matter not 100% of the time.
Okay, so in the Camp A people, Camp A women, what? Excuse me. Excuse me. What do you think what's the average lifespan of those?
Anywhere from one time, 24 hours, to at most 1 year.
Okay. Well, 1 year, I mean, that's kind of good.
That is good, but that's rare. It doesn't usually go that long. That's the tops.
Yeah. I haven't been able to hit that 1 year.
Yeah, which is kind of sad. I mean, I had a girl that I very much enjoyed time with, and would have loved to continue that, but it went the 1 year thing.
What happened at the 1 year or around there? Is it she wanted to go to Camp B?
No, this was a very unique thing.
Oh.
Well, I guess I could tell it since it's all you not.
It's anonymous.
Anonymous, and this could segue into something else. So, she had a history that we've talked about a lot. A woman, so she was 40. She was late 30s when I knew her, and a phenomenal person. Meaning educated, kind, compassionate, everything. Sexually amazing.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And she went through a period, like we've talked about a lot, where she was sexless for 3 to 5 years.
Like me.
Yes. Yeah. Like you in a lot.
Yeah.
This is, as being a guy, this is a very common.
Is it?
Extremely so. Extremely.
Oh, we got to talk about that. We'll
yeah.
come back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Very common.
Yeah.
If I meet a woman, over 30 to 35, I'm kind of going to expect you're coming in because of where we cast our line. That is sexual. It's not eHarmony.
No.
Well, that's if you came out of 3, you're rebounding. So she was rebounding a lot like the Curious Girl.
Mm-hmm.
Different, but similar.
Yeah.
And so she was, and I say this with the utmost admiration, very sexually active.
Uh-huh.
Meaning, 3+ men a week that she was meeting for rendezvous.
Oh, wow.
And for whatever reason, she felt comfortable sharing, and it wasn't my thing that and I kind of tampered her off of it. I'm like, I don't need to kind of know everything.
Yeah.
Well, along that path, she contracted an STD, and that destroyed her. She was kind of the ilk that she thought she had done something bad, she deserved it, and she went from being an incredibly beautiful sexual person to I'm never having sex ever again.
Yeah.
This is my fault.
Uh-oh.
It really, really took on a lot of blame, shame, and judgment from within.
Yeah.
And as much as I tried to say, that's okay, this could happen to anybody, you didn't do anything wrong, it was on deaf ears.
Yeah.
So but that was a very unique story.
Yeah.
That's the only one after a year ended like that. Otherwise, they kind of are like, the more common thing I hear is, I thought I could do this isn't for me,
Yeah.
I want something different.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. So, because you hit on a couple things that, you know, I've talked about before in my podcast and things that I, you know, just personally myself struggle with. Like, I have said, like, there's times where I just go, is this fucking for me or not? I mean, it's just because, you know, you'll hit, we run into a bunch of ding dongs, you know, and you're like, what the hell am I doing? I mean, you know, like, this is you kind of go, well, this is a waste of my time.
You're running to stand still.
Yeah.
To do this is running.
Yeah.
Like everything we said, you have to check your email. There's a process.
It's a process. It's like a machine. You got to kind of work it like a business, and it gets to be.
And it hits you some days where you're like, I'm back here.
I don't know.
I gotta open up the laptop.
What am I doing?
I got to answer these same questions.
Yeah.
I'm not moving forward.
Yeah.
At all, and that your listeners are going to hit that.
Yes. Well, and the other thing too, the interesting thing is I've also discussed and talked about, because somebody asked me, you know, are you afraid about STDs? I'm like, fuck yeah. You know, and I referenced, I think, you know, you and I talking about that. It's like, of course, you know, you do everything you can. And the only thing that really is 100% effective against that is abstinence, which is not an option, right? I did that for 3.5 years. I'm out of that mode. You know, we do it as responsibly as we can, but I think we're, you know, someone said, do you worry about that? I'm like, of course. Yes, absolutely. Yes, I do. And, you know, I remember you and I specifically discussing that, and we didn't really have I don't think there's a real good answer for that.
It's a scary answer. I remember when I went through that, of course, I get checked at least twice a year. Mm-hmm. There's a free sex clinic, very convenient to me. Yeah. And they're wonderful in California. And when I went in, and this is to share with your listeners, is that what happens is you go in and you say, hey, my friend contracted something, so I'm, of course, in here. The only way I convey it to people is they look at you like, wow, you're having sex, like, you are a brave cowboy.
Yeah.
It's that you are going to catch something.
Yeah.
And somebody that, you know, our age is out there, they look at us like we've got done playing Russian roulette and like, I can't believe you're still standing.
Yeah.
It is that kind of, you know, listeners should just Google it. The statistics are daunting, to say the least. Yeah. That we choose to go out there is a little bit crazy, but what's the alternative? Yeah. And I'm trying to be as politically correct as I can possibly be. So, I mean, most people, if this was Oprah, they'd be like, don't have sex.
Yeah.
You know,
do you think, let me ask you, do you think that's, I mean, I don't know, do you think that lends itself to why some people are more can't beers? You know, they're just in the can't be, they want a relationship, they want to lock it down.
I read that because there's a lot of sites where they'll say that question.
Yeah.
If there was no STDs, would you sleep with more people? Mm-hmm. And they'll say, oh, yeah. You know, for my money, I don't know. I haven't invested that much thought into it.
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think that people say that.
Uh-huh.
But my 2 cents in just having this conversation with you is I don't, and again, let me just not be crucified. It's a big deal. I mean, it's a reality. It's a scare.
Absolutely, yeah.
But do I think that every woman is not engaging in an active, you know, healthy, exciting sex life purely because they're afraid of STDs? I think that that's kind of what we'll call a canned answer. Yeah. I can just throw that out there and it's accepted without any thought. To have an active sex life, to do what we do, takes an enormous amount of effort and work, like we're talking about, is not socially acceptable. They don't have a lot of friends and family members that they can talk to. These are recipes for disaster. True. You know anybody you can talk to? Yeah. Not a good recipe. No, right. You know, all of these types of things, that's an enormous weight. I think it's just a canned, easy answer to say STDs. Yeah. Because you can't argue against that. You're like, then you're smart. Okay. Yeah. in a conversation.
Yeah.
But I think the reality in knowing what we do is that this for sure is exhausting. It's a lot more work. I think that for me, when I see people take the B route or get married or all these wonderful things, for sure it's, I don't want to say easier. It's a more acceptable way. It's a known way. You can talk to friends and family members about it. Like all the things that we do is an individual struggle, which means you're bearing all that weight.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of encompasses everything. I'm like, why don't you do this? It's a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean.
But I can tell you for one thing that I don't hear a lot, being a guy, when I do meet a woman that I meet that does what we do, they're extraordinary women. I mean, I think most women would think, oh my God, they're like whores or floozies, or they'd be a lot of negative words. Like, it's quite the contrary.
Yeah.
CEOs, Ivy Leagues, valedictorians, these are words that I would use.
Yeah.
That women are like, no, I know what it is to lead an extraordinary life, and I got the heels to walk the walk.
Right.
And that I don't think is discussed enough. That the quality of woman that can, really take on her sexual identity and walk the walk is extraordinary. And the women that go the B route, I'm kind of like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, it's harder to just stand on your own and say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I want. This is what I'm doing. Be upfront about it. Be open and honest with, the people that you meet.
And get no help.
Well, yeah. I mean, and just, but, it's different. It's different. Now, we talked about, I want to know, like, I have something written down here. So let's see. Oh, here's my big question for you. How you manage these, so, because you've been doing this a long time, and somebody asked me in my last Q&A about, they said, do you ever, did you develop, like, love? Did you love anybody? Did you develop, like, serious really? And, I answered that. And what I was wondering to you, because you've been doing this for a while, like in this mode, have you ever been in love with it? Does it develop? I mean, what?
Absolutely. Every time.
Yeah. I mean,
every time. It's the exact opposite of what people think, because when I go into this and I'm about to meet a girl and we talk and we kind of say what's okay and not okay, what are boundaries. I firmly establish I am a junkie for intimacy and connection. Yeah. I'm working hard on connecting with myself and I want to connect with you.
Yeah.
And just because this is sexual and this is the way that we're meeting, the world will say that is less than. I'm here to say that's not less than.
Yeah.
And we agree we have to take things one step at a time. Everything in life, you don't want to overwhelm people. You don't want to put pressure on. Hey, let's meet this first time. It's amazing. Let's get married.
Yeah.
Right. Let's just left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot.
Yeah.
Let's take it one step at a time. And a part of the ground rules is I think intimacy is amazing. I think connection is amazing. And I would love for this to be, a one-night stand forever. And for you to have this with other people, etc. Because it costs me, it takes nothing away from this connection.
Yeah.
Why can't we, take the way that we're meeting now at this age and what we're doing, careers and everything, and realize we're going to be at a different place in 10 years and kind of grow with it together.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm saying on the table that I don't want is a traditional monogamous marriage. And we could talk about that with the girl. I'm more than happy to talk about that. That's just something that I don't think that is okay with me. But I'm not at all afraid of it in connection. And if we fall in love, to answer your question and everything, like, that doesn't scare me in the least.
Okay.
I love it.
Yeah.
and this is what would be okay and not okay in that, and all of these things.
Yeah.
I always develop a connection.
Right.
And usually it's vice versa, but then comes the beginning question, like, well, why does it end? And that goes on to a different discussion.
Yeah.
It's very, very,
well, no,
very challenging.
I want to go, before we go on, the only thing I want to do is interject right now before we go. That's an interesting point of view. I want to go on to that point of view. But I want to make sure that everybody knows is it Wednesday night? Like, what night is it? It's Wednesday night. We are sitting here. We have wine on board.
Yeah.
We're drinking our wine while we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
So
my voice is a little slow, a little sleepy.
Yeah. We are. So I don't know if Joel's projecting enough, because I always project my voice. I always tell people project your voice.
Probably not.
I know. But, this is, so here's where we're at. So we're just having a very, very interesting, free-flowing conversation. I wrote down just a few things, but there was a couple things I just knew that I wanted to get into, with you, because what I found in this year is so, like, so somebody asked me, like, oh, did you develop any love feelings? I'm like, well, there's a couple guys where, I did, but it's different. It's different. It's not the same kind of, like, young love where you're just, like, where you want to lock it down. It's really more just, from my point of view, a caring for that person and wanting the best for them. I mean, like, just because you genuinely care for them, you don't, I've never felt like, oh my God, if they're seeing someone else or they are seeing someone else, this is bad. And, it doesn't occur to me. It's the word, I don't know how else to say it other than, like, that sort of thing doesn't occur to me, but I noticed that the reciprocal of that isn't always given. I mean, it does occur for me, the guys that I've been with, that I'm with other guys. To me, it doesn't bother me that they're with other women, because, like you said, I don't feel that whatever they're doing when we're not together has any bearing on what we do when we are together. All I care about is this fun? Is this enjoyable? Are we having a good time? Are we connecting? That's just what is going on directly between you and I. And I don't think farther than that space. Mm-hmm. Is that normal? Maybe I'm out in left field,
And I don't think so. And one of the things I've kind of also on top of that is that, we were all raised on the movies and a lot of things, school and parents, in a good way. And, we've all seen the movie of, oh my God, I can't think of titles, but I can think of a million of them in my head. This is a loving relationship, and they were away on a business trip, the contrived story.
Mm-hmm.
And, oh my God, you slept with a stewardess,
Yeah.
And then that's the theme of the movie. And this, oh my God, you betrayed me, and the tears. The reality is, we have a little bit of experience. It's not that big of a deal. It's not worthy of a movie. If I am in a relationship with you, and we call them treats, and I'm at Whole Foods, and we look good after a yoga class, and like, hey, want to go to a hotel for an hour? We've talked about this.
Yeah.
And I go, it pretty much begins and ends in the hotel. And,
and
I'm glad that I had the experience. It's wonderful, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
But don't think that that's going to bleed into my career, my home.
Right.
No, that was a nice thing.
Yeah.
And I hope I enjoy those things for the rest of my life. I don't necessarily go home and tell that to my longer term lover, because I don't think it's a kind thing to do. And if she did it, I'm like, yeah, okay. We're now at a stage where, like, we can identify what are really challenges and problems and all these things. So I think a lot of the problem is that all of us in this society were raised on, that's betrayal. On a scale of 1 to 10, that's a 10. And now what I'm like, it's a 2. Barely even a 1.
Right. Right.
And that's again, like, not discussed. Like, could your marriage make it if your wife was unfaithful to you? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Without question. It's like she forgot to boil the eggs, I mean, I hate to be overly contrived, you'd be like,
Right, yeah.
give me a tough one, you
Yeah,
know? There's a lot of tough things. And I also have to share with this is that you have to always look at the whole picture. We share a lot about each other. I'm a big believer in therapy. I go to group therapy once a month. I'm the only single person.
Oh.
So there's 8 people total.
Yeah.
And I've been going for years and years and years.
Yeah.
And what it looks like is you go and you sit in a circle and you meet and you've been in a relationship for 8 years and they tell what's happening with them emotionally.
Yeah.
I'm the only single person, like I said. So I get to hear once a month incredibly challenging stories on every single level, what it is to be a married couple.
Yeah.
And wonderful stories.
Yeah.
Some of them are married 1 year and have no kids. Some of them are married 30 years and have 7 kids. And everything in the middle.
Yeah.
It's never a cakewalk. Nobody walks into a group therapy and like, that was the best month of my life. And neither do we. What we're doing, we're raising our flag and saying, hey, here are the exhausting challenges.
Yeah.
And they're real.
Right.
But they ain't shit.
Yeah.
To what I hear in group therapy. Like, hey, getting married and going a 10-year, 20 years, everybody, like, that's a unique set of challenges, and more power to you. It's not you and I to judge or say which way is right or wrong.
Yeah, for sure.
But I can be the referee in the middle of the field and say, this is to my left and this is to my right. And, I mean, I know how brutally challenging it is. So when we do what we do, and I say, I really just don't want to go into that landscape.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I could write a book on it. I went to the university of it. I know it. And I'm consciously choosing to say, I would rather not do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to invest to my left. Mm-hmm. And that means you and amazing sex and yoga and really good dinners and everything that we said.
Yeah.
And that's my choice. Mm-hmm. And it's not flippant. It didn't go without any thought.
Yeah.
And this is non-negotiable. This is our understanding, etc.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, everybody says yes to everything. But for whatever reason, that never bleeds to the right.
Yeah.
But I'm never tempted to go to the right. As no matter what, left or right has its own unique set of exhausting challenges.
Yeah.
That, to me, is more so that I've just consciously chosen to articulate to say that's not an option for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so I spend my energy here.
Yeah.
But as we share, well, that's short-lived. It just goes a year.
Yes. Yes. Well, so what I said in one of my recent podcasts was I was like, damn it, because we had this conversation about, you had said, these relationships are transitory, they're not long-term. And I was like, no, like, they can be, I'll make them. And, and then I'm like, fuck, Joel was right. And as my, as I've experienced, just through this first year, and it's interesting because I guess I'm still sort of this quasi-optimist. Like, I still believe. I'm laughing at myself because I know this is going to come back to bite me. I'm putting this on the record. I still believe, like, I can find that one person. Like, I can make it happen.
I think you can too. I'm thinking of a movie I recently saw where a woman pulled it off, like a 40-year lover relationship. I'm like, I love this story. I love the way it went.
Yeah.
I see an image of it and I hear you talking. I think it is possible. I just haven't been able to pull it off yet. But I'm not giving up hope.
Yeah.
I'm still in the game and going to try to do it. And I have a vision of it in my head and it looks really appealing. Okay,
so tell me, I want to know, what is your aversion to marriage?
I don't have a version of marriage because I never.
Why
it's
is
not
it,
for me? I'm not.
Why is it not right for you?
Because I go to group therapy, and because I have parents that are still married, and because where I come from, all my friends are married, and it's not at all a bad thing. It's just, and by the way, I mean, quickly, I'm in the majority. It's just not. It's like saying I choose not to live in Australia. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Australia.
Right.
I just choose not to live in Australia.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Yeah.
I have no judgment about marriage. I think it's a wonderful institution. I love everybody that does it. But there's a lot of things about me. I choose not to eat meat. I choose not to eat and live in Australia. On and on and on. It's a choice that being connected to myself, that's not something that is in concert with me.
Yeah. So for me, the reason I never got married is because actually I really hold that in, like, high regard, I guess. Like I say, if you're going to go there and you're going to do that, you better fucking know who you are and what you're about and be ready to make that commitment. It is not to be taken lightly. I don't believe that you stand up in front of your friends and your family and, if we want to use the G word, if you want to say God or whatever, whatever your belief is, and take vows and then just take those lightly. So to me, I've just never come across somebody that I felt like I could. Oh God, stop. Don't make me laugh. We're laughing because my dog is snoring and she's just,
And the tongue is
and her tongue's always hanging out. So people don't know this. Like, okay, I have to come clean. Every time I do a podcast, the dogs are in the background. They're either snoring, shaking their collars, walking around. You hear their nails tapping. They're getting their water, and it's this background noise. These are less than 12-pound dogs, like two little lightweights. And my one little gal here snores like a man, basically. And when her tongue sticks out, it's really, really long. And if you touch that tongue right now, it's dry as a bone. Because it sticks out when she's sleeping and it just stays out. Okay.
So cute. Oh my God.
All right.
That should be the screensaver for when
I know.
listen.
I digress. Okay, back to. Let's get back to.
Well, so to pick up where you left off,
Yeah.
what you were talking about, and that's one of the challenges is that exactly like marriage is serious. It's deep. It's all of those wonderful things, and I think that's the impossibility of it. Is that if I meet a girl and I get married and I'm 25 and I'm a bartender, which all these things are great,
right?
And then the point is your life changes in arcs, and to expect two people to go
I don't think
railroad tracks.
I don't think people should get married in their 20s. I've said it before. I'll say it again.
Yeah,
you don't know who the fuck you are.
Right.
You're figuring that out.
So for you to say that's a lot of pressure to say, hey, you need to take this serious. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. I'm taking it serious, but
I'm changing.
But I'm changing, and to expect you to change at
with
the
me,
same pace, that's
very hard.
It's unrealistic.
Yeah.
And then, on a side note, if this benefits anybody, you and I are risk takers. People don't know about our professional lives.
Right.
I go home to I have a great network of friends and family, and I go home and I'll tell them what I'm doing, and they drop.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm like, well, this is an enormous risk.
Mm-hmm.
If I had 3 kids and I was doing this, I would never leave this job.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Sure.
And for me, that scares the daylights out of me. I have to work for Google.
Yeah.
And make this salary, and I can't endanger leaving it because I got the little ones.
Right.
That's a reality. That goes into this conversation because that's always cognizant in my mind. Is that, hey, I really like to be able nope, I'm going to take a chance on this, and this is crazy and wacky.
Yeah.
But if it's one single man doing that, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
And that's when I go back to my friends and I'm like, how can you do this? I'm like,
right.
It's just me.
Yes.
So then mentality just kind of carry over to the sex, and I can risk, and I can not STD, but I can risk, and I can take chances. If it doesn't work out, it's just me. It doesn't work out.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. You're not. Yeah. You're not affecting the family or something like that.
So, but that you and I have that, we're the same because we know about our professional and personal lives.
Yeah.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
That kind of bleeds into this sexuality because let's take the opposite of that. The girl that really needs to get married and everything.
Yeah.
That's the opposite of everything we're talking about. That's, what tomorrow is going to look like. Yours in my life, I don't know what tomorrow is going to look like, and I get off on that.
I've said this before, I have an interesting point of view on this, though. I've spoken to many of my friends. See, I believe, women get married for different reasons than men do. And I believe that many women get married. It's a financial merger of two incomes. And they're looking to improve their lives, or their potential, whatever, and they want to have kids and they want to have family. And so, they're looking for a provider. I don't think like women sit up and go, I want to pick that deadbeat right there. No, I mean, right. And so This is stuff that's ingrained in us. Now, I've asked all my friends that are married and they're just okay with it. I've said, tell me honestly, if you had $5 million in the bank, would you have gotten married? And the answer is across the board, no.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
And these are what we would consider happily married women that you would, from the outside, would be like, oh, this is a joyful home and they're having a good sex life. But if you said, if I would have given you $5 million, they would have said no. So every woman got married for financial security.
It's a like I said, I think that, women are just, I'm not even going to say women because I know it's a male thing too. People want to get married and they want to merge their finances. And the reason I, again, as a business person, never wanted to get married, I'm like, this is just a business arrangement between you and the state that you live in. And you're subject to the rules of whatever state you live in based on that, right? So the state wants to have their hand in your finances more, or, have a say about that because you're married and that's a legal binding contract. I mean, that's what you're getting into. It's a business arrangement. People don't want to look at it that way, but that's what a marriage is. It's a contract. And you're subject to certain things, whether statewide, IRS wide. I mean, there's all these things that come into play. But generally speaking, I found that, when just polled, a general polling, it's like, this is a financial, I want to improve my financial status. This is a way to improve my financial status. And that, I don't make any judgment on that. All I can say is for me personally is that I never looked at stuff that way. I was always like, I want X, Y, and Z, and how can I earn that? I'm going to go out and get it, and I'm like, and there was never a thought that, well, if I am hooked up with this guy, I could get that faster, or, it would make it easier, or, or our combined incomes would be great together. It's just never, it's really never been.
And all your friends went that direction. That was their.
But I think that's okay. But so here's the thing. I think that's natural. I think they went the direction that I would say. Do you say 95% of people go?
Yeah.
90. Let's say 90. We'll be liberal. Let's say 90%.
Right. Of the people who get married because of finances.
Well, no. I'm saying this. I was able to glean this information because I asked a specific question. But I do believe that it's a driving factor in, a lot of the decision making on, for women. Can't speak for men, but I would say for women, to want to align themselves, it's just one more. It may not be that I don't want to make this into a bad thing. I'm just saying it's a check mark. It's like you're going down. I look at stuff on paper. I do. I look at guys on paper. I'm like, he checks this box, check, right? But for me, I don't have to consider the finances. It never has to be about the finances because I'm doing my own thing, right? And that's a very liberating position to be in, where you're just like, well, I don't have to look at that. Mm-hmm. That's not that would never be in my equation. But for some women it is, and I'm not making a judgment about it. I'm just saying it can be, and it seems to me that it is a lot of times a driving force. I mean, I don't know that. Do you think you would disagree with that? You're from an area that's, I think, very superficial.
Oh yeah.
Do you think those women are looking for broke ass men?
No. There is no. Let me go on the record here, Miss Curious Girl. There ain't no girl ever going for a broke ass man ever.
I love that broke ass man. I want to marry that broke ass.
For all the men out there, if you're broke ass, it ain't gonna work long. No.
I married you because you're broke as a fool.
But for at a certain level of income and lifestyle, etc. I completely pick up on what you're saying. Completely disagree. I'm sorry, agree.
Disagree.
Agree.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, security, there's always three areas, love and lust and security and companionship. And you just sort of balance which one is your greatest need.
Yeah.
And my mind drifts towards somebody, like, let's use an extreme example, like, for males, let's use Justin Bieber, and for females, let's use whatever Kardashian girl.
Okay.
Meaning their finances are set.
Yeah.
Right? And they are going to drift towards marriage. They're going to get married. And so for this point of this conversation, we'll be like, why? You have fame, you have money, you have lifestyle, you don't need to do that.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to Curious Girl and our lifestyle is because what I know in doing this is that this is a shit show. If you're Kim Kardashian and you're Justin Bieber and you go to the Bellagio at Vegas, the ultimate club and everything, and you've done this 8,000 times, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to be like, I want to get married.
Yeah.
Because this is exhausting.
It is.
At the moment,
yeah,
that looks less exhausting.
Yeah.
And then the grass is always greener. They do it for a month, and then they get a divorce, and they come back, and you just see this thing. And I think that hearing what you're saying is exactly on track and bright. But I think for me now, at my stage of my life, is that the choice to stay single versus marriage is not finances, it's not security, it's not companionship. It's that I've had, unfortunately, the time to make plan A, meaning sexual, online, the Justin Bieber example, etc. I know how to make that less exhausting, and I know how to walk in and out of it. Yeah. And that took decades. So if I hypothetically had a male friend that was going to get married, like, hey, let me follow you around and teach me what you do, unlike what we've been talking all the time, like, you can't.
No. Yeah.
That would be impossible.
Yeah.
This is going to exhaust you. You're going to get run into the ground. There's nothing good about this.
Yeah.
I think that yes, for sure, at a certain level of income, people, especially girls, like, yeah, here's $5 million. Yeah, I'm going to take it. Because it's scary if you're not, like you, financially successful and blah, blah, blah. Like, hey, this is not a good road.
What are you going to
do? Get older and the opportunities go down.
Yeah.
That we all visualize, like, that ain't good.
You better hook up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this road, just doing what I do for a woman, that's not easy, etc. So I think that the answer to a small majority of the listeners is that I've been able, there's been times in doing what we're talking about in Landscape A where I've definitely been exhausted, wanted to throw in the towel.
Yeah.
Self-loathing. What am I doing?
Yeah.
All of these things.
Oh, God, I've gone through that like so many times.
Let me just take a break.
I've taken breaks.
Do a lot of yoga.
I'm on a fucking break. I'm on a break right now.
I am too. I'm on a break too. But you and I know it will come back.
Yeah.
And every time we come back to it, we get a little bit better.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, what you view as this shit show, I know now how to make this work. I know how to put in minimal effort. I know how to stop it. I know how to begin it. I'm in control.
Yeah.
When we started, we weren't in control.
Yeah.
Right? Well, all these emails, everything. Hey, you tell me where to go.
Yeah.
Horrible. And something kind of happened where we kind of like creamed to the top. And you're like, well, now don't use me as an example because don't follow in my footsteps. Yeah. But I know how to do this.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how to do this, don't do this. So then your only option.
Yeah. Is B.
And I'm sorry to the listeners because we're we're pointing. And,
I know.
Yeah. Then it's...
I think it's...
Then B is a huge pull. Like, this is no longer an option.
Uh-huh.
Even if I wanted it, everything, like, this is the only option.
Yeah.
And that's horrible in life when you have that. Yeah.
So, okay, let's go back to... I want to circle back to the... what we said about... Stop looking at my little dog who's snoring. Poke her! Just poke her! She snores all the time. She keeps me awake. Like, I'll wake... This is like a man in my bed. I'm like...
It relaxes
I jab her. I'm like...
I love to hear, like...
Roll over. I'm
kind of jealous. I'm like, I kind of want to be snoring.
No, she's... My tongue out. Yeah, we should stick the microphone over there to capture it. Anyway. I know, sorry. People don't know what's going on. We're just... With
the wine, this is going to be the worst podcast. We're going on for 4 hours.
I know. We're like crazy. We've been drinking.
How much time are we in?
We're like 45 minutes in. That's okay. That's all right. That's
it would have been 2 hours.
No, yeah. All right, where's it going? I forget. Where's it going? Oh, I was just talking about, so tell me how, I know how I manage it. Like, I know how I justify it in my mind, but I'm curious about how you justify, like, so if you're seeing somebody and maybe a few people, and you genuinely have, love feelings for them, just really strong feelings. How do you manage that? I mean, I can tell you, so just my thing is everybody's different, obviously. And when I develop strong feelings for somebody, every dynamic's different. And I can't, it's like, some people will sit there and we can share, like, I did this with this guy, and this is like, we can kind of compare horror stories, we can laugh, we can giggle, and, or just even, talk about, like, yeah, I see this guy, it's like really special, blah, blah. It's just non-threatening. It doesn't phase one way or the other. But then, there's other people where it's kind of like, there's been a couple of people where I'm like, I don't know if I want to hear about that, and again, it's not that I don't want them to do what they're doing. I just don't know that I want to hear about that.
I agree. Yeah. So, I've tried it both ways too. And I'm like, hey, I thought I tried it both. Like, and now I'm at, like, no, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah. I mean, what?
Right. We have to think of a better expression, because that seems like a cop out. Like, I don't want to hear about it. Like, no, it's not that I'm afraid to hear about it. I'm choosing to say, you're entitled to your private life.
Yeah, I'm saying that off the record. I don't say that. That's not what I say, like, directly to them. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm feeling. Like, it's just like, I'm kind of thinking, like, all of a sudden I'll have this dialogue and I'll go, God, I don't know if I want these details. I mean, I don't really know if I want to hear about it. I know that they do, and I don't have, that's fine. I don't want to stop it. I just don't want to know about it. Like, I don't want to know the details. Like,
no, I don't either. I don't see any reason to. I don't see any practicality. I don't think it brings us closer. Yeah. So,
do you have that same thing where you have just have different dynamics with different people? I mean, like, some people I think that they're on a certain level, and it doesn't bother you, right? Because that's their lane. Mm-hmm. I like to call it. Everyone's got their lane, right? They're in this lane. And then there's certain people where you're like, I don't want to say a little more special, but it just, the dynamic is different. The feelings are different. And you're kind of like, yeah, I don't know that I want to really, I can't have that. I can't discuss that with you and laugh and giggle with you about it the same way I do with this person over here. Because, I just, I'm not sure that I'll leave, like, feeling really good about having that information.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that? Do you experience that?
Less and less now.
Oh.
Because before, yes.
Am I emotionally immature?
No, because when I was doing this, I'll say, like, more actively, more partners.
Yeah.
You sort of are less. I was sort of less discerning, and like, oh, this is a pretty girl. She goes into my bedroom. There's another pretty girl who goes in my bedroom.
Yeah.
And as I get a little bit older, a little bit experience, I start to listen more before she goes in the bedroom. So if a girl or a partner or a man, whichever sex it is, moving a little bit slower has kind of solved everything.
Yeah.
If a girl's like, if that's something that I'm not really interested, like, for example, like this example, I don't need to hear everything. You have a personal life.
Sure.
You have a kind of like a meeting point or something. And if a girl or a boy, that's their personality. And we all know it because we've all been on first dates, coffee dates, whatever, with the girl or the guy is just going. Like, well, this is who you are.
Yeah.
You're not going to change.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm just now kind of more attracted to people, would it be a girl or a guy, that right from the get-go really has very clear understanding and boundaries of what a private life is. When I'm dating, even I used to try to push the buttons and pull everything out. And now we're both kind of like, we're hanging back. Like, in due time, if I decide to share, so I'm kind of attracted to people that kind of verbally hang back.
Okay. That's interesting.
That kind of solves it. And so we've both been there to people that are just like, in 3 minutes, here's my whole life. You're like, well, then you're going to tell me everything. Yeah. That's who you are.
Yeah.
And I just don't really entertain those people anymore.
Right.
I kind of entertain people that hang back.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes care of itself.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So we're going into 50 minutes now. So we got to kind of wrap it up. We got the dog snoring in the background. I know.
Probably our listeners too.
I know. I wonder. I'll be curious to see. Oh, snore. Everyone's like dropped off by now. Like, shit, I can't.
We'll do it again, but not after a bottle of wine.
Oh, I know.
And we're touring. We've been watching.
Well, I just wanted this to be like, what's up? Like, we're face to face. Okay, I know.
No, it's a good idea. But we'll be more alert.
You know what? I like the impromptu stuff. People. Hey, nobody wants to listen. They don't have to.
I love it.
But so I'm going to do a year 2 for the Curious Girl. And, well, you may not know is I just decided that, this year, so I had kind of I had my sex bucket list. I was scratching that off, blah, blah, blah. That was like my theme, right? But this year I just said, you know what? I'm not doing a theme. I'm just going to, I don't want the pressure of that.
There's no reason to, yeah.
And, because it kind of felt obligatory, and for a lot of
your
times.
First year, but look, what's the theme of Oprah?
I don't know.
Day by day,
right.
There is no theme.
Yeah.
It's life.
Whatever comes up.
You've got that was your launch. Now it's just this is life.
Yeah.
This is Monday.
Yeah.
That's the theme.
So what do you think? Like, a lot about I've shared a lot with you. What is going into year 2? What's the best advice you can give me?
Always the best advice with this is be real. It is back-breaking work to connect with yourself, to accept yourself, to share, Brene Brown territory, everything that we love. Like, work nonstop on connecting with yourself, because if you can connect with yourself, you will connect with another person.
Yeah.
If you're fake, if you're, not authentic, all of these types of things, you're going to go nowhere. She's poking the dog. That always is with every product, with every personality, with every podcast that I advise on is be genuine, be yourself, connect with yourself, be vulnerable, really dial into that, what the daily struggles are,
Jesus.
What we do professionally and sexually and everything, that's tough, but really it's because, the listeners can't hear, but we're in a studio. When you come in here and the doors are off, and if the little ones weren't here and you close the door, in my mind, everybody I have a disagreement or I pass in life, that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
In today's political climate, neo-Nazis, whatever, I'm like, that guy's closing the door. The laptop's shutting down.
Yeah.
He doesn't have an audience anymore. And that's like the bleakest and the hardest. And that's what everybody's trying to get through, is that when you and I go out there into our city and we do all these things, it's glorious.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we come in here, we shut the door, and it shuts off. Mm-hmm. And that's the point that Curious Girl picks up on, is that the girls are going to walk in, after a sexless marriage and trying to get back into it, or all of these types of things.
Yeah.
And we now live in an Instagram world where it's like, they're kicking ass. Why is it easy for everybody? That's totally fantasy.
Yeah.
Phony.
Sure.
That's where the curious girl comes in, is being like, this is what it's like when you close the door.
This is the real fucking deal right here.
There's no audience that's celebrating me. The makeup is off.
Jesus Christ.
This is what it really feels like to put yourself out there sexually, to do what we're doing, and get rejected, to go nowhere, to like the person, to not like the person.
Yeah.
Because it goes up and down. Because everybody that enters into the conversations with us, they have a plan or an agenda. Well, this isn't an agenda. This is day by day.
Right, yeah.
This guy had a great God. This guy did this.
Yeah.
This guy made me angry or whatever. But in the Instagram world, they're like, well, what's the plan?
Yeah.
At the end of the year, I'm going to find this guy. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this bucket list. And you're like, the year's over. It's still Wednesday.
Yeah.
This is where it gets hard. It gets hard when you close that door.
Yeah.
And you're in here by yourself and you're like, this is my life.
Right.
And how can I share with people, be like, how can I start there?
Yeah.
And it can be glorious. Yeah. What we're doing, I think, is amazing. I think it's absolutely okay and amazing for us to have one or dozens or hundreds of, for you men, for me women.
Yeah.
That we have a great sexual life with, that goes up and down.
I might throw a couple women in there if I get lucky enough.
And I'll applaud that. I think that's absolutely
still on my list.
For listeners, for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, these people have my wants and needs in my back.
Yeah, right.
And it doesn't
Yeah.
have, that's the line.
Yeah.
It does not have to be Plan B marriage. There's got to be other, for God's sake, listeners. There must be millions
For
of
the love of God!
For the love of God, it can't be one path.
No, I know.
There's got to be.
Yeah.
And everybody listening has to be a cheerleader and say, I'm with you.
Yeah.
Let's have it so that at the end of the day, we have people that have our wants and needs that know us.
Yeah.
That will know us for a long time.
Yeah.
And make our life richer. And how that's year 2. You have to be the first one through the wall and the pioneer to teach us this is how you do it.
Yep.
And share your misgivings and your exhausting days and your successes.
I'm doing it. I have been doing it. I am doing it. It's, and as you know, I mean, I've shared a lot with you. It's like sometimes there's podcasts and you've listened to a couple of them where I'm like, take a listen to this. Should I post this? You're like, I don't know about that. You can, but you can't take it back. And so again, that's like the whole thing is just to really be, I'll say this, just to I'm going to wrap it up here because we're almost heading in there. But I think the hardest thing that I found in doing this is to stay truthful, to stay authentic, just to not waver from, and worry about what other people may think. And I'm still guilty of it. I'm not going to say that I'm not. I mean, that's the reason that I've held back from some of these podcasts. And that's the reason I'm like, I'll be calling you. I'm like, listen to this. What do you think? And, and if I had any balls, I'd just be like, fuck it. You know what? I said it. I meant it in the moment. I'm putting it out there. But, I honestly do my best to just put, it's probably 95% out there. And so that really is, I mean, there's really been only a few things that I've just said, well, I'm going to hold back on that.
And that's where I think that because you are classy. If I could say a brief answer for where I would like to see Curious Girl go in year 2
yes. Where is that?
Share with them what gets under your skin from your point of view, classy, because there's lots of sex podcasts out there where I'll listen to it. Like, this is what I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Because somebody thinks it's charming and anybody can do it now. And let's say this girl picks up this guy and they go to bed and he's wearing socks in bed.
Yeah.
And it's an hour and a half how this girl didn't want to was bothered by this guy wearing socks in bed.
Yeah.
Meaning an example that means absolutely nothing to me. I don't want to hear 1 minute of this, let alone an hour and 50 minutes. What I want to hear is your classy is what gets under your skin, because that's what gets under all your listener skins. Meaning I have to take this on. This is exhausting. I had a full 12-hour day. I got to shave. I got to primp and prime. I got to get out there.
You don't
what
understand.
we all need to do, and all that. And that's level A. But that's talk.
Yeah.
But then get to when the door closes and be like, this happened. Like what we talked about, what one of our people did.
Oh.
That's like under your skin.
Yeah.
That's something I want to hear an hour and a half long podcast on. Not that example, but I mean, like, that's from a classy person. Like, why is this happening? I don't want to hear about socks in bed. I don't want to hear about he didn't pick up the tab. I don't want to hear about he didn't open the door. I have heard that a million times, and I get it. Yeah. I want to hear from the level of people that are like CEO level, like grounded, and this is happening, and why the fuck did this just happen, and why can't I get over this, and why is this taking me a month to get over? Yeah. That's the shit that I listen to. And you are classy, so you have to be able to distinguish everybody else that's socks in bed, didn't open the door, didn't pick up the check. I get it. Move on. Yeah. 1 million hours of that shit. Yeah. What is it when it's like, this was going great, and this makes me want to stop doing. That's the litmus test. Yeah. That should start. This makes me want to stop doing what I'm doing. Yeah. Because that's what the listeners that I want you to empower, that's what they're on the fence about. Right. And you're stronger and more advanced and like, this is knocking me off my perch. Yeah. I want to know what knocks you off your perch. Yeah. In a classy, like, deep way. Yeah. Knowing we can't go option B marriage for everything that we talked about. It must be. We have to look for alternatives, and we have a hopeful image. Yeah. But this just fucking brought me to my knees. Yeah. That interests me.
Yeah. Well, I think I did. I don't know if I did an hour and a half about that subject, but I did about 30 minutes, maybe plus.
You did. 10. But you know what I'm saying? Because there's other successful podcasters out there that just are entertaining, like, black socks in bed. Yeah. But the listeners are following you that know that you're invested in, like, look, I'm going to make this work. And if you come and turn on the podcast and say, I'm this close to quitting, I would be really engaged. Like,
I've said that. Yeah. I've said that. I mean, I talk about the good.
But you're going to keep doing it.
Right.
In the year, I want you to keep going.
Oh, I'll hit that. Somebody's going to hit that note with me in a year or two.
And now that we're closer, I'll be like, this made me stop.
It's the good, bad, and the ugly. Yeah. That's what it is.
And I'll share with you, like, this is why I keep going. Yeah. This was a great night. Yeah. I'll share those and be like, this. I said why. Like, this is amazing. And then the next night, it's like, I'm going to quit.
I said why I keep going. Because those types of things only make me, more determined to prove that I can have exactly what I want. Yeah. That's it. Because I don't know if you listen.
It feels damn good to get exactly what you
want.
Oh,
I fucking always get exactly what I want. Let me just make no mistake about that. There's the business hat coming on. Like, I do not settle for mediocrity, for less than what I want on any level. And when I started this, so the podcast I did before, The Dirty Ones, was interesting because I and I said I didn't want to talk about it very much anymore, but we're bringing it up, and I think it's actually worthy right now of just giving it a little bit of effort. So I started my year. I said I had two bookends to this year, the beginning and the end, which were, I said fucker 1 and fucker 2, and jokingly, and but the thing is that when I started this, that could have knocked me right off my perch right there. But instead, that made me more determined. I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. This isn't setting me back. I'm going to keep moving forward. And this second incident is no different. None. That's the thing. You get more and more determined and more steadfast and committed. It's either going to knock you off or it's going to make you realize I am more focused and more clear and more determined to get what I want. And that's it. You're going to go A or B. So for me, I like to get what I want. So it's going to be, I will hang in there until I can prove that, that this can be the way we want it, and it will be the way we want it. And, I won't settle for anything less. So that's kind of that's where I end my year, I guess. So
I like it.
Yeah. All right. So I think on that note, it's a good place to end our podcast. And as usual, thank you for listening. And questions or comments, you can go ahead and send those to CuriousGirl@thecuriousGirlDiaries.com.